Welcome to Platform Ed. I'm with Shane, Mr. Australian Leather 2023.
Yes. Hello, how are you?
Thank you so much for talking to me, Shane.
Thank you for having me.
And we are in Sydney.
Yes, we are. Yes. What are we in Sydney for?
Mardi Gras. What
Yes.
else? Um, how many times have you been to Mardi Gras?
This will be number 7.
Wow.
Across 11 years, this is 7. Yeah.
You travel a lot in Australia.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think I've seen you in a different city or posting somewhere from somewhere all the time.
Yeah.
Before we get into anything, why do you think that's important to you?
I like the in-person connection. That's why I travel. Some of my favorite traveling moments are not to the big event weekends, but to the monthly socials or the weekly socials or just bar nights, where you get to meet different members of the community that might not go to the big events, but they're still, they're still the foundations of our community. They're still the people that keep the bars running and the clubs running month to month beyond the big events. So, and they've got some incredible stories to tell. So that's why I travel so much. I prefer in-person connection to people. I think there's some really special moments to be had when you travel.
Well, let's talk about your title and IML, but I want to know about you before all these titles, where you grew up and you moved to Australia from somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
tell us about it.
Moved from England, age 24, 11 years ago. 2 suitcases, $600 in my pocket, and a one-way ticket. And I had to make a life for myself. It was make or break for me. And I think I've done okay. But that's kind of where my Australian journey started. But it also gives me a great appreciation for the size of Australia, the culture in Australia, the different cultures in Australia, as well as I did a lot of traveling of it, obviously around Europe. So I've got a good handle on like different cultures and different environments between Europe and here. And then IML gave me an American perspective too, which was great.
When did you discover leather or
Leather for me started about as soon as I could hold a brush in my hand, about 3 or 4 years old, I guess. My parents had horses where they used to compete with the horses. So the school holidays were spent bootblacking and cleaning horse harness to competition standard. And now I clean different kinds of harnesses that don't go on horses. But yeah, that's where leather kind of started for me. And then as I came to around, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, I discovered a man on TV dressed in full leather. That person was Elvis. And that was that's my first vivid memory of a man dressed head to toe in leather and my interest being piqued. So that's where my journey kind of starts.
was it easy or difficult when you were growing up there? And you said you moved here at 24. Before that, was it easy or difficult to meet people who are interested in the same thing as you?
Yeah, I mean, I spent many years kind of, I think many of us do, questioning why we're into these things, um, trying to avoid, being too public about it, kind of closeted in a way. Being a leather person, being a kinkster of any kind is usually like a second coming out. Once you've accepted, potentially your different sexualities and found who you are there, then you discover the other aspect to you, and then you're fighting constantly with self-shame, others people's shame that they're putting on you. So it is certainly a second coming out. I guess it was around age 22, 23, after watching years and years of, adult content in the privacy of your own room, that you want to go and explore these things in a more personal way with others, which oddly enough is never always how it seems in the movies or the videos that you watch. It often feels when you or when you see something and you go, oh, I quite like that on a video, and then you do it in person, there is a very real chance that it might not feel the same as you thought it would. Um, and that's always fun to discover that, right? It might be a better experience for you.
Did you have a sense of community or a sense of belonging in the leather community when you were there, or did it start after moving to
Yeah,
Australia?
no, my sense of I found community. I found community here in Australia. That's where I found it. I knew it existed in England, but I was certainly, places like Brighton, Manchester, and London. They're kind of the hubs. And of course, you've got now the Leathermen of Ireland and the Irish scene's really taking off. But they were kind of the original hubs of the leather scene. So I knew, the deviants were out there, as it were. But yeah, it takes a lot of courage to go to those things. And I managed to somehow find that courage here when I got to Australia.
I didn't have a community in Sri Lanka, and I mean, a leather community. There was a queer community. There is a community, and um, there's a sense of belonging to a certain extent there, but definitely not into fetishes or kinks or anything. And I found it in Australia, so I can totally relate to that. How was that journey trying to find your own people in Australia after moving here when you were so young?
I think it's the same old story as many people. The first time I went to uh, a leather bar or a leather event, a kink event, I sat outside the pub for about 2 hours in the car having an anxiety attack and didn't go in. I drove home. It took me about 2 or 3 goes. And eventually, actually, just finding someone who was already attending
Mm.
and kind of latching onto them. And I like to play that role now. So like the tables have turned, and it's people will now go, oh, I've never been, and I try and encourage that. And if they're, yeah, I think it's really helpful if they are nervous, worried, having anxiety about it, they can just latch onto you, and it's as simple as introducing them to some good people in the community, um, and letting them like run with that. You don't have to hold the hand for the entire nights
Mm.
all of the time. Let them do what they want to do and what they're comfortable with. But yeah, I find introduce them to a few good people that you think they will connect with, um, and I think they seem to flourish. And it's really nice to see those people return.
And what sort of advice do you have for those who are looking for a community like that?
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate. Okay, we live in cities. Many of us do live in cities, especially here in Australia. It's mainly the big cities that have the scene. So we've got regional towns, places like Townsville or Alice Springs and places like that. Unfortunately, we don't have leather clubs in those places. But my advice, is social media can be a good tool.
Mm.
It's a double-edged sword, but it can be a good tool. So connect with people that way, and then travel. That's what I've done. If you can afford it, if you have the means to do it, have the opportunity to do it, travel, see the places, connect with the people. Um, that's really, I think there are a lot of people that sit at home browsing Instagram, um, admiring fetish folk. But I think there's something sexy about seeing these people in person, really understanding who they are beyond what they show you on social media, because that
Mm.
can often be very different.
Yeah, they can look intimidating
Mm.
in person as well sometimes, but when you get to know people, they're not that intimidating.
No, I get that a lot actually. Intimidation. People are, I will have attended an event and I've seen people, looking and whatnot, and they never seem to approach,
Mm.
or they'll walk off when you try to approach, that kind of thing. Um, and then you'll get the message half an hour after they've left, on an app or Facebook or Insta or whatever it might be, and it'll be, oh, I found you so intimidating, or people misconstrued anxiety. I'm anxious. Loads of people that I know, there's very few people that I don't know that aren't
Mm.
anxious at these events. We have anxiety. We do get nervous. Doesn't matter how long you've been around these spaces. But that often gets misconstrued with arrogance, for
Mm.
example, because you're kind of really trying to push yourself to be an extrovert, even though you might not be. So many of us are introverts. Um, but yeah, so that's yeah, common misconceptions is intimidating. I think we've got to remember we're all regular people, right? We all started the same. We were all born mostly the same way,
Yeah.
and we'll all end the same way. So we're all regular people. A title, a medallion, these things, whilst they are incredible and incredible platforms to
Mm.
have, we're still normal people behind them.
I've been on the other side definitely a few years ago, like you. I was scared to go to the first places I ever went to. I didn't know anyone, so I had to like somehow get to know people. I felt like it's scary to walk into a place and talk to people. But like after a few years, I'm more confident when I walk into a place. Now I would know a lot of people, so it took a lot of time. But with that, I also feel that I have a extra responsibility just to make sure someone new who like me a few years ago. If someone like that walk into a place, maybe make them feel welcomed and comfortable. Because I was there some times ago, I feel I have an extra responsibility just to make sure someone new feel good.
Yeah, turn the tables, and it can be as simple as buying them a beverage of some kind. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be alcoholic, soft drinks, water. Get them a beverage and have a chat with them.
yeah,
Compliment them on their gear if they've got any gear, or help them find some gear,
yeah,
or tell them a story about your gear that you're wearing. All of these kind of things, it helps education, it helps connection, um, and to show interest in someone
mm,
that they may not normally have expected you to show interest in them makes you much more impressionable and a much more welcoming space.
yeah. I was talking to a few people yesterday at the Hyde because Hyde in Sydney was my first fetish experience as a social, and the team there made me feel so welcome when I was this shy, nervous person. I didn't have a single piece of leather at that time. If I had a bad experience, I would never rock up to anything. So everything that you are saying, these little things that you can do for someone, will make a massive impact.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's just, I think there's such a heavy reliance on gear. You have lots of gear, I have lots of gear, many people that I know have lots of gear. Um, it's not always accessible financially to
Mm.
everyone. Um, and we were discussing over breakfast today, boots, usually they're your gateway.
Yeah,
Okay, they're accessible. You can wear them with many things. They're not too expensive, depending on the boots that you buy. But you can start off with your simple boots
yeah,
and a pair and denim. And this is why I wear denim with a lot of my stuff, because that's kind of it's a bit of a homage to history as to where we come from with the bikers. They used to wear denim
yeah,
because it was hard wearing and it was cheap.
yeah,
Leather came about for safety purposes and because it was functional. Um, not to mention, it now looks sexy, right? Um, but that's kind of why I interweave denim, uniforms, and leather in all of the stuff that I wear um, to respect the past, but to also make newbies aware that you don't just have to get a big leather shirt, a big leather jacket, and a mule cap and boots and do the whole kit and caboodle straight away.
yeah,
Um, Work your way up to it. It's taken
yeah,
me years.
yeah. And there's a beauty in that journey as well. You buy your first piece of leather, you talk to people about leather and try to figure out what is what and what to buy, where to buy. And I found that journey is unforgettable. Like that was amazing. Like, I still remember the first pair of chaps I bought, the first boots I bought, the every first item I bought. Rather than just trying to just go and buy everything, enjoy the journey and take your time.
Yeah. I mean, my first piece wasn't bought, it was given to me, which I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on leather, and it is still my most treasured possession. I still have it, it's still in pristine condition.
Yeah,
Um, I was around a person's house and they had their wardrobe slightly open, and there was some pup hoods and some leather and some harnesses. And I was like, oh, what is that? we hadn't had this, we hadn't had these kind of
Yeah.
talks, and we sat down over, many meetings, and we discussed leather and the history of leather, and eventually I earned. They gave it to me, and they gifted it to me, and then they told me the meaning behind gifting, um, and earning some gear. And I continue that tradition. I have gifted so much gear, and I just love the moment that I can walk into a space and go, I used to own that. They deserve that. They got
Yeah.
that, or oh, they're in need of some. I've literally given the shirt off. I've literally taken the shirt off my own back and given it to someone to come to an event, because it gives me such joy to do that. It will be special to them as my first harness, which is just a simple black and grey harness.
Yeah.
Is so special to me. I've got so much custom gear, and that is still the most special piece that I own.
Yeah.
I will never give it away.
You're absolutely right. And the one who's receiving that will never forget you for that, and would that will be a great core memory for them. I remember the first leather jock straps. I didn't I didn't buy one. I was given by brand who made my title vest and title sash. So he and I got to know each other, and he gave me one of the eagle leather jock straps, which I still wear, and I still have it, and I'm gonna wear that to IML as well, because it's so important that happened that way. So I didn't have to buy, and it was perfect for me. And I started like that years ago, and things changed, and then I won a competition where he made the sash and I got to wear the sash, and then he made a title vest for me. Just crazy. Like I started with
It started with that, and here you are, and
yeah,
it's a part of your journey,
yeah.
and
So
it's something you'll never forget. You'll never forget them, but it's not always about forgetting them as a like. I don't gift gear to someone so that they remember me. So they remember the moment, the feeling
yeah,
of how they felt when they were gifting it, and hopefully they will then grow and do that to other people.
yeah,
It's about a
yeah,
little bit of kindness, a little bit of generosity.
yeah. The repel effect.
Yeah.
We were talking about titles. So tell us about. You have a Queensland title, and then you have a national leather title, and then you went to IML.
Yeah.
Tell us about that journey.
Sash Queen, total Sash Queen.
I didn't say that.
So first one was Queensland Leatherboy. I was encouraged to go onto it. I didn't know really much about it, and it was given to me as kind of a starter, like because there's two titles in Queensland. There was at the time two titles, um, and it was given to me as Leatherboy. It was kind of a beginner title, as it were. I took that, I ran with it, and I became my own version of that. And I actually use that as a journey of growth into becoming a leather man. That's not always everyone's journey. Leather boys can be leather boys for life, and they're on an equal platform to leather men, and that's really important to remember that. But yeah, I ran with it, and then I was the first leather boy to win the Mr. Australian leather title back in 2023. Um, the COVID years was my first title, so that was a tough period to do your first title through. That lasted 2 years, thanks to COVID. And then I had about a year off in between. I wanted to reset, refocus, to remind myself of why I'm doing these things. And then I ran for that one. And that title for me was just an extension. Wasn't about being more important, being national, because I don't see it as more important. I see all title holders as equal, and I think that's another important thing to remember. That's something that IML, you will get from IML, I think, is something that they did tell us, is basically, doesn't matter what sash you're wearing, you've all achieved greatness in being here. You've all done the work to be here. Um, so yes, whilst titles are important, it's important to put them in perspective sometimes and remember that we're all equal human beings. Um, And my total year for that year was spent entirely focusing on shedding a spotlight on others' voices. And that's when I did the title holder
Mm,
forums, which I think you attended, did you not? Yes. And it was about getting different, diverse voices, um, rather than me standing on a microphone saying my
mm,
experience, me asking questions of what other people's experiences are like, because there's people in the audience, there's people thinking of running for titles, wanting platforms, that want to know other people's
mm,
experiences rather than, let's face it, a privileged white cis male.
mm.
Um, so I wanted to have the trans voices and the people of color, non-binary voices, um, female voices. Um, I think it's really important to have a real good cross section. I remember Sir Ange after the Melbourne event um, complimented it and saying that I've never seen bears, rubber people, women, men, non-binary, trans all have a voice on the same stage at the same time in such a wonderful way. Um, and I was really pleased with that. That was what I was wanted to do from the outset.
And you did that in few different places,
Yeah,
right? Not
yeah.
just
So
I
I
remember
wanted to
Melbourne,
get
but
around the entirety of
yeah,
Australia. Timing, finances, just
it's a
almost
big
impossible.
country.
It's a big country. It's a big country. And also some scenes in Australia aren't they don't have titles at the moment,
Yeah.
or they don't particularly feel that it was best that situation was best suited to them.
Mm.
Um, but certainly, yeah, Melbourne, multiples in Brisbane, Sydney, and Adelaide were the four main focuses
Mm.
for that year. Um, and yeah, they I think the success rate of those, I think at least one attendee won a title that year from attending one of those workshops.
Oh.
So it did a job. It's done its job. It's inspired. That's what it was
That's
meant to do. It was meant to
yeah.
inspire the next generation.
And then you went to IML.
What an experience!
Tell us about it.
Yes, uh, there's 68 in my year. Leather folk from all across the globe of all different backgrounds. It's a melting pot, and it's a good melting pot. I've never experienced an atmosphere, a culture, an environment like it. They want you to succeed. Everyone wants you to succeed. Um, the drama's left wherever you know people want to leave it, but it doesn't get brought to
Mm.
IML. Everyone there, from head producer right through to fellow contestants, through to supporters of other contestants. Like, you never hear a crowd, for example, just blatantly cheer only for one person, not another. They cheer for everyone.
Mm.
It's so supportive. It's an incredible experience. I was very happy with my result. I was surprised by my result, I guess. Um, but yeah, I was very happy with it. But I didn't go with the intention to win. I went with the intention to be myself and walk off that stage proud of who I've represented, me, on that stage. I tried to put away the pressure of representing a country, representing a particular club. I wanted to represent myself. And I walked away proud of that, really proud. And also the rest of the Aussies, many of the Europeans, incredible jobs, did incredible jobs over there, which was really, really good to see. Um, so, yeah, it's a heck of an experience. You're going to love it. Um, you got to remember to enjoy the moment.
If you have to think of one main thing that you took out of that experience, what was it?
Don't worry about wardrobe malfunctions. So I was explaining to you earlier, my chaps ripped on the very final night, the grand final night, as I was getting dressed in the dressing room. And kudos to the handlers, the handling team. Um, they don't get flustered. They don't panic. They helped. Um, I stressed. I panicked. I had to change things last minute, but it all worked out. Um, don't stress too much about it. People there to help you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, don't overthink stuff. That's what I kind of take away from it. And I cannot stress enough. Enjoy the moment.
Yeah. Do you think that helps in general life after that as well?
Yeah, for sure. Some of the well, the connections for a start that you'll make. We have a big group chat with all of us in there. Uh, we still talk daily, all of us. Sometimes we'll wake up to 300 messages because there's
The
60,
time.
70 people in that
Yeah.
chat.
And the time
One message
difference.
each. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Time difference
Yeah.
exactly. Um, but we're always discussing different topics. Sometimes it's just thirst traps. Sometimes it's really important topics and how we can help, not just from one particular town, city, country, state, but like on a global scale.
Yeah.
And I think that's what uh, IML should be all about. Is about trying to be international and internationally inclusive of everyone. So yeah, it's an epic experience, and I really hope that you enjoy it. I really hope the other three that are also
Yeah.
representing with you.
Yeah.
I think you're all going to do great things. So, regardless of the result.
Very much looking forward to it, like with everyone here. I think we have very close relationships already. So yeah, can't wait.
That's what I'm loving at the moment is I'm seeing you all bond uh, so closely.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that IML also brings. And that
Yeah.
you're all going through the same emotions right now. You're prepping, and you're all worried about what ifs and
Yeah.
maybes. You're all going through the same emotions, so you're really empathizing with each other, and
Yeah.
that's really causing a really beautiful bond between you all.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lifelong bond.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what happens in IML because like these connections are gonna last longer and they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you mention about bikers
Mm-hmm.
and what's your involvement?
Me, I grew up around motorcycles. My father built and rode motorcycles. Um, so I always had a fascination with going fast, loud engines, and leather. Um, and then I joined some motorcycle clubs here. I've joined on some Dykes on Bikes rides over the years. Um, and I loved it. I love the spirit of, I love the history behind it and how that's connected to the leather community. But beyond the fetish community, I just like the environment of the camaraderie with fellow bikers. Doesn't matter who you are, you turn up at a cafe with your motorcycles and you're all admiring each other's motorcycles and asking questions about it and their backgrounds. So it's another form of connection. Um, and then I took that and I ran with it, and I experienced some prejudices, homophobia, transphobia in various motorcycle clubs that I was a part of, and I couldn't just be complicit and like you know go along with it as it were. Um, and particularly some trans folk that were really, they turned up to a ride and nobody spoke to them. So I took it upon myself to try and make them feel a little bit more welcome. There's nothing worse than, it's a bit like going to a bar night. You turn up on your own, you don't know anybody, and you just kind of stood in the corner. You didn't know what to do. So again, reached out to them, um, and I saw a space. There was a gap for trans, non-binary, um, of different gender identities, um, people of color. You know, there was a space. They didn't really have a space where they fully felt at home. So I created a motorcycle club in Queensland, Rainbow Bikers Queensland, um, with the full intention that it was entirely inclusive of everybody. Rainbow, straight, doesn't matter who you are, as long as you have a smile on your face and a good attitude and you're safe on the roads. That's the only requirement. Um, and then a few months after that one started, we've got about 300 members, I think, in that one at the moment. And a few months after, someone reached out from South Australia And they didn't have a motorcycle club for the LGBTQIA plus community. And they asked, how did you do it? And I said, well, if you would like, um, here's the name. Here's the people that support, our clubs and businesses that support the club. Um, Run with it. Started up in South Australia, um, and I'll be a silent partner, as it were, in the background, just to ensure that everyone's safe and not causing any big dramas or news headlines or anything like that. So now there's two motorcycle clubs here, um, which I can proudly say that I founded. We had support from the Dykes on Bikes who helped us and supported some of the first few rides that we went on, which is incredible um, because we're not rivals. Um, and in our club, there's no space for rivalry. We've got no time for it, no patience for it. If you want to ride with, another club, go and ride with another club, and ride with us. You know, there's none. If you ride for them, you can't ride with us. It's not a gang; it's a community. Um, so that's pretty crystal clear. The other thing for me was that it wasn't a dictatorship. I've been part of clubs like that before, um, where it's just one person's kind of perspective and wants and needs. It's about collaboration. These two motorcycle groups. It's about collaboration. If you want to do a ride, do a ride. Um, if you've got a new idea, a new event that you want to do, a new location that you want to go to, you want to lead a ride, lead it, go for it, run with it. It's the community's club. It's not mine. I just helped start it.
And what plans do you have post IML?
Yes, post. Well, I was trying to slow down a bit. It hasn't happened. I think if people know me, they know that I just go, go, go all the time. I'm trying to get back to a little bit of who I was before I found, titles and platforms like that. I didn't lose that person, but I did put them on the back burner. And I certainly put others' needs before my own. Things like self care. We all say do it, and we all preach it, but rarely do most people practice it. So it was about that. Going back to things like camping, I love camping. So I actually went camping back in January. Loved it. First time in 3 or 4 years that I've been camping. Loved it. Just a total reset for 4 days. Um, surround yourself with friends who might not be title holders or in the fetish scene. Have some normal friends.
Yeah.
Normal in inverted commas, but um, you know, so that you can talk about different topics because the leather community, um, LGBT issues can be all consuming and can really long term affect your mental health. Um, so it's about finding balance, and that's what I want to do in the year ahead, years ahead. Um, Slow down a bit. Still going to travel. Still going to support the community. Still going to raise funds. Still going to mentor. That's a big thing for me is mentoring the next generations. Um, and that's not necessarily telling them what they should be doing or what they should be like, what they should dress like. It's just giving them some resources so that they can flourish to be themselves in these spaces and bring new perspectives. Um, because of these spaces, I love talking to the older generations. They've got some incredible stories um, and some incredible lessons that we can learn from and not make the same mistakes. Um, and also some incredible victories that they've had. And they're really great to hear and focus on. Um, and then you've got the younger generation just coming in. They're bringing their own new fun perspectives to it, changing things up. Because if we all stayed the same, this community wouldn't have survived as long as it has. If we didn't progress, if we didn't find new ways to do things, um, yeah, this community would have died a long time ago. And I think, yeah, the younger people just coming in, they're the future of our community. So we need to look after them and give them the right resources to really flourish.
And when you think of this community that you have right now, what three things comes to your mind?
Finding home, that's what it's been. It's been an identity, finding my identity, finding authentically who I am. A siblinghood. I don't like to use the term brotherhood. I like siblinghood because we're made up of such a diverse range of folk. So that feeling of siblinghood, if you're having a tough time, there are always going to be people that can support you. If you're having a great time, there is also going to be people that are going to help celebrate those victories. Advocacy. I think our community really spends a lot of its time pushing boundaries, overcoming obstacles, protesting for change, supporting folks who are being persecuted and victimized. And that's advocacy. And that's such a wonderful thing. I think it's one of our strong points in this community is how supportive and how we are willing to take action for the sake of others. I think that's really special.
Thank you so much finding time and happy with all these things. And I really hope that you will find time for self-care.
I will try. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for inviting me on. I really, really do appreciate it. Yeah, I will try and find time for self-care, and likewise, and for anybody else who's watching it as well, find time for self-care and actually do the self-care. Do the things you enjoy. If you're reading, if it's just reading a book, if it's binge watching a TV program, if it's camping, if it's going down to the beach, go and do it. Actually do it. Make time for it. It's important.
And when we are busy and doing things, whatever we do, we forget that. I think that's when we need friends to remind us that maybe you need to slow down.
Yes.
And do some self-care, because otherwise you will burn out, and we all will burn out, and that's not good. Yeah.
Burnout's a real thing. I've had it. It's a real thing. It can actually affect your physical health. So yeah, as I said, it's important as aftercare in a scene. Self-care is also a thing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.